In the world of the Pokemon trading card game, it feels like the entire universe revolves around Standard. All of the content creators talk about Standard. The official Pokemon company doesn't run any sanctioned expanded tournaments or other formats at all, though they did put out a little guide on alternative ways of play, which is great. Nevertheless, it feels like the entire Pokemon TCG universe revolves around Standard play. And when I started playing the game, like seeing all of the influences around Standard play drove me towards playing Standard play. And it kind of made me feel like when I started out playing with theme decks and stuff that I was like a lesser player, or I was alone for playing in theme battle, or just not really knowing what I was doing. And I want to show something that no one's really talking about that kind of opened my eyes to like what the player base of PTCGO looks like. So this is a little different from IRL and all that, but what the player base of PTCGO specifically looks like and what we can learn from that. I'm Jet from inthirdperson.com. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about the players of PTCGO, and is Standard really king here? And we're going to do that by looking at the leaderboards for PTCGO. I had no idea that there were leaderboards for the first few months of my time playing the game. And they're ultimately not that useful in the sense that the way we're ranked is just by the points that you get from wins. So you can just play and grind it out for hours and hours and hours and get yourself to the top of the leaderboard, but it doesn't necessarily make you the best. However, it does have some interesting insights on who is actually playing PTCGO. And for example, this is the Standard leaderboard. And if we go all the way to the back, we can see that there's roughly 57,000 players. I know there's ties. I think I tried to do a count with like, it's 25 names per page multiplied by the number of pages. It's about 56,000 people are playing Standard, right? In my head, based on the way that people talk about Standard and the players on Twitter and all that, it feels like this would be the biggest bucket of players, right? Let's go to Expanded and look at the same leaderboards. It was 56,000 for Standard, 57. We go to Expanded. Oh, this is not the... Oh, hold on. This is not the right chart. Here we go. Expanded format, all the way to the back, 89,000. That is not quite double Standard, but it is notably more than Standard. And if we go over to Theme Battle, right, for everyone battling it out with the Charizard deck and the Dragonite deck, and you feel like you're a lesser player because you don't have the good cards and you're stuck playing with theme decks because you don't got anything else, but you like the game and you want to keep playing, or you're grinding that ladder to get the packs to try and get the cards so you can play in Standard, there are over 125,000 people. And I keep in mind, this is for the last season. So like the last 20 something day interval on the ladder is a season. And in that period of time, there were over 125,000 players playing Theme Battle. So if we look at that, right, Standard's about 57, Expanded is about 89, and Theme Battle is 125. The largest audience of players playing PTCGO are playing Theme Battle. I think that if you feel isolated or left out or lesser than because you're playing in Theme Battle, don't, because most players are playing in Theme Battle. And I totally understand why the spread of players is such, where most players, or the largest portion of players, is playing Theme. It's a free game. The theme decks you can unlock for free. There is matchmaking, so players of theme decks can play other theme decks and you don't get steamrolled by people playing Standard or Expanded decks. And it's kind of a cool experience in its own way, and it's a nice way of easing into the game to a certain point. I think that it's fun to play within that ecosystem, though the Pokemon company stopped releasing theme decks in this format, so the meta has gotten stale, and the new game PTCG Live isn't going to have theme battles at all. So this is all kind of legacy stuff, kind of going away, but I understand why there are so many people here. It's easy to get the cards. You can unlock them for free. You can just play against other theme decks and have a great time. I personally, once I started to see what was possible in the other modes, I kind of grew weary of theme battle and wanted to move over to standard. But if you're having fun playing theme battles and you have no ambitions of going beyond that, that's totally fine. If you want to go into standard expanded, that's okay too, but don't feel like you're a lesser than because you're playing theme battle, because this is where most people are. And another thing is that from a content creator perspective, there are so many players in this space or at this level of their Pokemon journey that aren't being catered to. And I get it now that I'm on this side as a content creator. How do you make theme content when this meta is essentially dead and has been for a couple of years now that there's no new decks being added or mechanics or anything like that, and they've probably already covered those years and years ago? And what more is there to say on this front? And so, of course, the fixation is on standard, where there's always stuff being added. There's always new metas, always new things to talk about. It's the most prestigious. It's what Pokemon officially supports. And so all of these players kind of get left behind in that regard. I know there's a lot of people who are frustrated about the lack of a theme battle going into PTCG Live. It would be kind of cool, but I like the solution that they seem to be going for in the new game, where they're giving players like the shell of meta relevant decks right off the bat, so you can just play in standard right away, no problem. And we don't have this weird gap of most of the players are playing in this side of town, and then the rich people are playing in standard or expanded. So it's just kind of an interesting phenomenon that, yeah, this level of player, the theme deck, this is the majority, not the majority, but it is the largest portion of the PTCGO player base. So there you go on that front. How about expanded? Expanded is bigger than standard, and I think what this says to me and is that players don't want to let go of their cards, right? In the standard format, it's pretty much the last few years of cards, and then everything past that goes away and you can't play it in the standard format anymore. And seeing that the expanded group is larger than the standard group, even though Pokemon doesn't officially support expanded tournaments IRL right now, I think it says a lot about, like, one, it's really hard to get these cards, which it is. I think that the struggle to get cards in Pokemon trading card game online is very real. It is one of the worst ramps I've ever had to experience in any video game I've ever played, because not only is it a matter of getting good and knowing how to play the game, but it's also getting the cards, and getting the cards in an ecosystem where it's super confusing and difficult to get cards. You're either opening endless packs in hopes of pulling the right cards, or you're going to a shady they're not all shady. You're going to a third-party site to buy codes to then trade them for packs. It's a mess. You have to, like, be the Wolf of Wall Street of PTCGO trades in order to get to a point where you can play in standard, and a lot of players don't want to mess with that. I think that a lot of people in theme either don't understand that they can do that, or they don't want to deal with that at all. And on the expanded side, they've put in this time and this effort to get the cards that they have. They like playing these cards. They don't want to let go of these cards, so they stay in expanded. And as new cards are added, they can continue to play and augment their decks with new cards while still keeping the core of what they have. And I totally empathize with that and totally understand why on PTCGO specifically, there is a larger portion of players in expanded than standard, especially when PTCGO is about 10 years old now. There's like 10 years worth of cards versus 2 or 3 years worth that are in standard. So yeah, the expanded player base who doesn't necessarily, maybe feels a little left out because the Pokemon company isn't really running expanded tournaments, and the content creators are focused entirely on standard. You're not alone either. There's a lot of players still playing in expanded. And then what does that mean for us in standard? And I say us because I play exclusively standard at this point. I like when I was watching all the content, I got influenced by that, and I also got scared away as a new player where I wasn't going to be able to catch up on 10 years worth of meta relevant cards in expanded. I just said forget it. I'm going to focus on standard, where these are cards that I can get relatively easily right now in PTCGO and in IRL, where I buy real cards and use the code cards all the time. What does it say? I think just to understand that, yes, all of the conversation is around standard, but there are more people playing this game in different ways than you are, and there are a lot of them playing it beyond just, here's the latest set of cards. And that is okay. That is a valid way to play. People are enjoying that. You are not necessarily better than them. It's just a different way to enjoy the game. And understand that enjoying the game in standard format is really hard. You don't just get to, here are my cards, I'm going to play with my cards. The meta changes weekly, like pretty much weekly if you're following it close enough. As online tournaments are happening, people are finding new tech. With every new set, the meta shifts again to accommodate for the new cards. You're constantly scrambling to try and keep up with the meta. And then once a year, a bunch of your card collection just disappears. And you've got to keep grinding to get these cards, and not everybody wants to stay on that hamster wheel getting all the cards. And yeah, this upcoming rotation in 2023 will be the first time I'm losing a large chunk of cards, because when I started in the Chilling Reign era of 2021, I made a conscious decision at the time that I didn't want to get invested in any cards that were going to rotate in a matter of months. So I just focused on whatever was standard at the time and Sword and Shield onward. And this upcoming rotation will be the first time where I lose cards. It does feel kind of bad. I'm going to miss Quick Ball. I'm going to miss Shady Dealings. I don't really play Zacian anymore, but I'm kind of going to miss that too. But, maybe at a certain point down the road, I'll be more okay with playing expanded when most of my card collection resides in expanded, but we'll see. I just think that it is interesting that despite all of the conversation and the culture around Pokemon feels like it revolves around standard, that at least in the world of PTCGO, this is the smallest group of the bunch. Okay, except for Legacy, but Legacy is unfortunately a dead format at this point. But of the three that are still actively played, standard is surprisingly the smallest bubble of the bunch. So what can we take away from all of that? I think I kind of ran through that enough. Just to recap, I guess if you're playing theme battles, you're playing expanded, don't feel like you're isolated or lesser than. You're actually the majority of people playing this game. It does highlight the struggle of getting cards. Standard is very hard to keep up with, to get the cards in there and keep getting the cards, because it is a hamster wheel. If you're trying to play standard, you always got to keep up with the meta, and cards are being added all the time. Cards are being removed once a year, and not everybody is willing to put in the effort to keep up, or it doesn't even know where to start, right? And when I started playing PTCGO, I started with theme decks, just went into standard or expanded because I had no idea what I was doing, got destroyed playing Mental Might on the ladder, and was like, wait, how does everybody else have all of these good cards? And I didn't even know where to begin to try and build a good deck to play in standard or expanded. I just knew that I wanted to build a better deck so I could play it that way, because it seemed so much more fun to me. If you're having fun playing in expanded, if you're having fun playing in theme, and you're happy with that, enjoy it. Don't worry about standard. I will say though, if you are in the camp of playing theme battles and you want to get into standard and you don't want to mess around with the horrible trading system and all that, I always bring this up in all of my videos, League battle decks, and in particular the Ice Rider and the Shadow Rider League battle decks. Let me find a good picture for you here. Here's the Ice Rider one. This is, you pretty much buy this box or you buy this code on a site like Potown, and you can just start playing in standard right away. This is a bunch of the cards in the Ice Rider one will rotate next year, so it might not be as good, and maybe a lean towards the Shadow Rider one. But if you're watching this around the time of release, like, both of these decks are fantastic to get you into standard play right away. And also, depending on when you're watching this, the Mew VMAX League Battle deck might be out at this point if you're looking to make the jump. This one's going to take a little more elbow grease to get the cards to really finish off the deck, but it is a great foundation for building what will probably still be one of the best decks in the game going forward. And, you know, even if once more options come about, just look for the League Battle deck branding in particular, where it says play level. And yeah, Ice Rider League Battle deck, look for those. These ones are built with more competitive play in mind, and probably prioritize anything that's level 3, because these decks are mostly built to be like competitive for standard play out of the box. All right, so that's going to be it for this video. It's a little different. Just wanted to shine a light on the realities of PTCGO and who the player base of PTCGO specifically really is. I hope that it helps you get a better understanding of who we are as a community and shine a light on players who maybe feel a little left out, and maybe kind of knock standard folk like me down a peg or two. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. I'm just trying to say, like, the community of PTCGO is a lot bigger than the people who are just playing the super relevant meta standard play. And I just wanted to acknowledge and share my love for everybody in the scene, however you're engaging with the game. So that'll be it for today. Thank you again so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed any of my other videos in the past, make sure to give this one a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also find me, sorry, I'm reaching for all my buttons here, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, where I post stuff all the time. You can also find me on Twitch at In Third Person, where I stream the Pokemon trading card game every Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. And of course, last but not least, my website, inthirdperson.com, for more articles and videos on video games, board games, and other nerdy pursuits. Enjoy the rest of your day. My name is Jet, and let's get out of here. Later!